What's going on, everybody? Good to have everybody back. We are excited. It's been a minute, Sheree, and when I say a minute, it feels like forever. We're just getting back from a cold, and you're going to hear the stuffiness. But for those of you guys that are just jumping in live with us, two things I want to ask you before we get started. Number one, what city, state, or country are you in? Put it in the chat, whether you're here live or by way of replay. And secondly, if this is your very first time, and Sheree is pushing buttons, is all love. If this is your very first time, put me in the chat, welcome. If you are a returner and you are part of our community, put what it do in the chat. Y'all stay tuned. We're coming right back live for the next edition. Oh, by the way, for those that don't know, we're going to be talking about a recent cruise that we took on Royal Caribbean. And for those of you guys who are thinking about taking it, we're going to talk to you a little bit about, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Y'all stay tuned. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back. So good to have you. I got a what it do in the chat. What's up, Joseph? What's going on, Sheree? You good?
I'm good. I figured out my tech. I was having some tech issues, so I apologize, guys. But yeah, it's good to be back. As you guys can hear, we both sound a little raspy. And so we went on a cruise last week for Thanksgiving, and we caught a bug. And on the last two nights of the cruise, actually, we were in our room. But we're feeling much better now. And so, yeah, but we're going to talk about our experience on Royal Caribbean, leaving out of Colón, Panama, on what was a great trip, because we went with some friends. But it was interesting. I guess I'll start off that way. And so, yeah, this was our first time taking an international or getting on a cruise at an international port. We've cruised before from the States, from Miami, Fort Lauderdale, from Norfolk, Virginia. And it was a very different experience doing it from an international port. There was some good, there was some bad, and we're going to kind of get into all of that today.
So for those of you guys who are just chiming in, again, welcome to Behind Closed Doors with the Brookses. I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. That is the lovely bronze
Sheree A. Brooks Jr.
And we just wanted to just kind of welcome you guys. If you've never joined us, we are expats. We're not professionals at this travel thing that decided 2.5 years ago to move to Panama City, Panama, primarily because my wife needed a mental health reconnection and break. And we relocated here primarily because of her mental health. And it's been a great journey. And I'll be honest with you, I would not change a thing. I think the only thing I'd change is that I'd do it sooner.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about some things that is Royal Caribbean cruise from Colón to Panama, obviously, to Cartagena, Colombia, to Aruba, to Curaçao. Worth it, Sheree. Let's get into it.
So first, like I said, we've cruised before, so this was not our first cruise, and we've cruised on Royal Caribbean before, and so we had certain expectations. And so from the very beginning, of course, so Colón, we live in Panama City. Colón City is about 45 minutes from Panama City. So we all met with our friends that morning. We had a shuttle service we had all booked that we all rode together. They picked them up, then they picked us up, and we took the journey out to Colón. That was pretty uneventful. There was no traffic. It was on a Saturday morning. We arrived there, and then when we arrived there, one thing that I'll say, it's not clearly marked where you're going. And so when you pull up, the shuttle driver knew where to take us. And so we get there, we're getting out the van, and there are all these porters there to take your bags, but there's no like, this is the cruise port. There's just all these people taking people's bags, and so it can be a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny because we live here and we have been to Colón, and for those that have never been to Colón, the free trade zone is the area that the cruise port is in, but it's at the Colón 2000, sort of the retail shop. That is the port. Like, that is the port. But because in the over, I don't know, Cherie, how many, a dozen times maybe we've been to Colón in the last 2.5 years, we've never seen a ship actually docked at the port. So we've gone there, we've shopped, we've eaten, we've taken people, we've done all the things. We've never seen a ship there. So what was funny for us was, especially for my people who live here in Panama City or Panama period, if you're cruising out of there, you would never know. You would never know that this entire retail thing is built with the port in mind.
Right, and so you pull in on one end of the mall, Colón 2000 mall. They take your bags, and then they just like grabbing your bags. Like, hold up, where y'all going? Where are we going here, people? You're just taking bags and just walking off. And so then they walk you pretty much through the mall, from one end of the mall to the other end of the mall. And on the other end of the mall is where you actually go out and go around the backside of the mall into I guess a little hangar area where they actually do your check-in. And so when we first got there, we got there early, and so we couldn't all get on the ship right away. We couldn't all go into the boarding area. And so they were trying to take all our bags. We was like, wait, no. So some of us had early boarding, some of us didn't. So we were like, just give us our bags back. And so we hung around in the cruise port, did a little walking around. Some of our friends had never been there before. And so we took them around, looked at some of the shops. And so then once we finally, it was time for us to actually board. Our boarding time was there. It was pretty easy process. You go through, like I said, you go outside, you go around the back, pretty much the back of the mall. You go into this little hangar area. You go through security. You go through immigration. You go through customs. Then you check in. At the gate, you show them your ticket, your boarding gate, and then they let you on the ship. And it was fairly easy. It wasn't that long of a walk. The distance wasn't that long. You go through another little duty-free store area right before you get to the desk where you go through immigration and everything, because they want to make sure you get your last-minute purchases before you get on the ship. And then once you get on the ship, you're there. It was pretty uneventful. You get on. It was not a lot of people getting on the ship, which was good. So I thought at the time. It wasn't really crowded, and so we got through. Like our original time to actually board was 12 o'clock, but I think we were able to get on. They said people for 12 o'clock boarding were able to start getting on about 11:15. So by the time we got on and got situated and everything, it was probably a little after 12 by the time we went through everything.
Yeah, I wanted to just chime in real quick because we have some people that are in the chat right now that actually went on the cruise. We didn't meet them that we know of. If you did, you didn't come say hi. But at any rate, it's no worries.
Right. It was a lot of people.
Wait a minute, say it one more time, man.
It was a lot of people at one point.
Yeah, it was a lot of people. One of the things I just want to, and we're going to get into what we thought about it. Trust me. Here's what I'd like to do. Before we go any further, where are you tuning in from? Put it in the chat. What city, what state, what city, what country? We're always intrigued by that. Also, we want to encourage you that if you are in town this coming Saturday, we're live right now, so it's Thursday, December the 4th. And if you're in town on Saturday, December 6th, we want to encourage you to meet us live at Mika's Cafe. We are way on the backside of this bug. Over the next 2 days, believe in God, we're going to be completely ready to go outside and hang out. But 10:30 to 12 noon, we do a gospel brunch once a month. Every first Saturday of the month, we're doing this gospel brunch at Mika Cafe in San Francisco. So we definitely want to invite you. Is Royal Caribbean Cruise from Colón to Cartagena to Aruba to Curaçao worth it? And I would say that that's a loaded question. It really depends on why you want to take the trip. If you want to take the trip because you just want to chill and do absolutely nothing for 7 days, yes, it is absolutely worth every dime of that. Yeah. Because I can tell you that it was probably, and this is our fifth cruise, full transparency, this is our fifth cruise. I would say probably the most uneventful, with the exception of the ports, the most uneventful experience on the ship itself. And then just let me give you this quick caveat. Prior to us doing this cruise, you guys, I would consider new to cruising in the sense that we had not done it, but we were so excited about the ship itself. Probably the first 3 cruises we ever went on, I don't think we got off the ship at all because we had been to the ports that it traveled to. This was the first time that we really committed to making sure not only did we get off, but we did the excursion thing and we did as much as we could until we got sidelined to our cabin, but we'll get into that.
Right. Yeah, I agree. This was probably the most laid back cruise that we've ever been on. It was very chill, very almost to the point of boring, if I have to be honest. Like the first 2 days, so we got on the ship, we left Colón. It almost seemed like the ship was pretty much deserted. It was not a lot of people on the ship. You could tell it did not feel like the ship was full at all. So, which was good because I don't like crowds anyway. But with that, it didn't seem like there was a lot going on. Like the sail away party was, blah. It was non-eventful. It wasn't the big grand sail away party that I was accustomed to, and everybody was just really chill. Everybody, I mean, it was literally, I remember the second day we were at sea and going out by the pool area, and it was so quiet. It was people out there. There were people in all the chairs and everything, but it was so quiet. And I'm like, is everybody asleep? Like, what is going on here? It was so quiet, and there were not a lot of activities going on during the day. The other thing, getting on a cruise here in Panama, in a South America, Central American country, the majority of the cruisers were Spanish speaking. So that presented a challenge, not so much for us because we're learning Spanish and we can kind of navigate a little bit, but I noticed for the crew on the ship, that seemed to be somewhat of a challenge because a lot of the crew did not speak Spanish either. And so there was a definite disconnect between the people on the ship, the cruisers, and the staff in that sense. Yeah. It was funny the first 2 or 3 days, I'm greeting people in Spanish because I'm used to that being here in Panama, and I'm noticing most of the staff is speaking back to me in English. So by day 3, I started speaking back in English, and most of them, they would light up when I was speaking English because they're like, oh my gosh, somebody that speaks English.
So one of the things that I think, and I just think that that's so funny, Cherie, we realized by cruising out of an international port that started in a Spanish-speaking country, it didn't dawn on us that the primary cruisers on that cruise would be mostly Spanish speaking. Now I know most of you guys go like, duh, like why wouldn't you think that? So let me give you some background. First of all, we cruised with, it was a total of 8 of us.
Yes.
And these were friends of ours that flew in from the US, okay? So with that being said, and by the way, all of these guys have cruised more than we have on many different cruises. And so they had a wide vast of which I'm gonna get into their takeaways of what this cruise was, and we're gonna go down the sort of the list a little bit because I know that there are people that are thinking about cruising on this particular cruise. I know that there are people who are already booked to go out next month, the month after on this cruise. So I just want to give you some things to sort of manage your expectations. So it didn't dawn on us that when you go from Panama to Cartagena, obviously you're picking up Spanish-speaking people to go to another country of Spanish-speaking people. But here's what we did not factor in at all.
That's what we did not know. We were not aware that this particular cruise that we were on was an interporting cruise. And so an interporting cruise is when they actually pick up and drop off people at other ports along the way. So there was a cruise. So our cruise started here in Panama, was from Panama to Cartagena to Aruba to Curaçao back to Panama. Mm-hmm. We were not aware that when we got to Cartagena, there was a group of cruisers that were getting off the ship and a group of cruisers getting on the ship that were doing Cartagena to Aruba to Curaçao to Panama back to Cartagena. We were not aware of that. There was nothing in the advertisement. There was nothing when I looked at the itinerary that showed me that there were additional people going to be getting on and off the ship. For me personally, that would have been a red flag for me. Like, as you guys can hear, we're sick. I have I have to be very careful about my immune system. And so going on a cruise on itself was I already had all my precautions in place. I was like, okay, I know, I'm not going to do a lot in the dining, in the buffet. We're going to eat in the main dining room. I'm going to stay outside most of the time, try not to be in enclosed areas a lot. And so with there being that change of people, that changed the whole dynamic of the ship, because for the first 3 days I'm on here with this group of people that are pretty chill. It ain't a whole lot of people. Like I said, it didn't feel like the ship was full at all. When we got to Cartagena, the ship got full. And it was a whole new group of people. These are people excited. There were a lot more kids. It was just an influx of people that got on the ship. And that was not something that I was prepared for. And if I were to do it again, I definitely would not do an interporting cruise because of that flux in people getting on and off the ship. And that also explained why there weren't as many activities going on the ship the first couple of days that we were on. So they basically have to do two of everything. So they had to do a sail away party for us the day that we got on. 2 days later, they're doing another sail away party when these people get on. And for theirs, it was a little more grander because they're a little more exciting than, I guess, us people here in Panama. So it was a little more energetic. But during those in-between days, the sea days, it was almost like the crew was recuperating, because what we found out is that I think they've been doing this interporting on this particular ship for I think 3 months, and they have like 6 more months to do. This is, I think, the first time that they've done this. And so the crew has not had any breaks because they're doing back to back to back to back to back to back cruises. There is no break.
Right.
Because as soon as they get in the port, they're getting a new group of people on.
Right.
And they're keeping going. And so the crew, the crew was very attentive. They were very pleasant, but I think honestly, those first 2 days, people seemed like they were tired.
Yeah. And speaking of which, let me just jump in real quick. For those of you guys who are just chiming in, welcome to Behind Closed Doors. I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. That's Cherie A. Brooks Jr. We are expats living in Panama City for the last 2.5 years. We do these podcasts really to kind of give you guys a glimpse behind the closed doors of our life and just living abroad. I will say this about the cruise, and particularly for those of you guys who are interested. And we talked to some friends of ours who had done the cruise that live here in Panama. And in one case, that particular friend has done it twice, and he said, "Be very aware that the ride from Panama City to Cartagena is a very choppy ride. It's a bumpy ride, if you will, in terms of the water, and that proved to be true. That proved to very much be true. So it was really, and what I won't say, I didn't get seasick, and we took our Dramamine just in case, and neither did any of our friends. But
you could definitely feel the it was a little choppy. I want to shout out real quick at Big Sis Dula. You were actually on the same ship that we were on. You were one of the lovely people that got on at Colombia. In Colombia, and yes, it did get packed. The environment did definitely shift at that time, and so oh no, you're saying that more got you were on the ship. You saw that when more people got on in Colombia, that it did shift. Definitely, it got much packed, more people on the ship, and it did change the environment. But it wasn't. It just changed the environment. It's like you got settled into one thing and then it just shifted on you mid-cruise. And so that was something that I was not prepared for. It was not something, mentally I was prepared for. And it created, I honestly think that shift in changing people like that probably led to me getting sick. I'm not going to speak for anybody else. But the more people, of course, there's more opportunity to catch things. But just I think the transition, because even them having to clean the room so quickly and get people back on the ship, I don't know if they really had time to really clean the rooms as thoroughly as they normally would.
Yeah, I think really it was just about the number of people more than anything else. I will say this about the staff, babe. Incredibly kind, very gracious, very nice. We've been on Royal Caribbean before, and we found it to be really consistent in terms of the customer service, how attentive they were to you. I want to get into some actual highs and lows of our account, and then I'm going to get into the highs and lows of others' account. If you're just jumping on this particular feed, whether you're here live or by way of replay, and you've done this particular cruise, Royal Caribbean, out of Colón, Panama, to Cartagena, to Aruba, to Curaçao, and back. If you've been on that cruise, if you did the one we just went on, we certainly want to hear from you. We want to get your experiences up and want to talk a little bit about it. We're also going to share the perspective of those that cruised with us. And I'm going to go there first, Cherie, just kind of to set the stage. So we went with three other couples. It was 8 of us in total. And one of the couples said that their high was the staff. Yes. Mostly everyone was so kind. They went above and beyond to make sure that we were taken care of. I agree. The game shows were generally funny, and they were just trying to navigate the language barrier like us all. Now, we didn't go. That was the days that we were sick and we were kind of quarantined. We self-quarantined just because we didn't know what was happening. And we didn't go. But one of the things that they were telling us was that, you know, they were aware that they had both English and Spanish-speaking people, but the actual idea of translating was a little arduous, it looked to be, from some of the staff, like the hosts and stuff. And they probably, you said, were getting tired. Yeah. And it was like they were getting worn out trying to just keep up and making sure that everybody understood.
Right. And I did actually participate in one activity. They did a trivia game that me and the ladies went to, and they were doing it in Spanish and in English. And it was interesting because he was translating in English and in Spanish at the same times, but then you could tell he would start going fast and then he'd forget us and then he'd forget them. And so it was, I mean, they were trying their best. I mean, I give hats off to the staff on the ship. I can only imagine having to do a dual language ship for 7 days continuously over and over, everything having to do it, interpret, you know, translation in both languages. Absolutely. For everything that you do. That's got to be extremely tiring, especially if that's not your primary language. And I know the gentleman that was doing the trivia game, he wasn't Hispanic. Not that he may not be fluent in Spanish, but I mean, you could tell it was arduous for him, and just being able to do that. But they did. I mean, I think the staff did an amazing job with trying their best to try to translate everything so everybody could understand.
The other thing is, this particular person that went with us also chimed in and said that one of her lows was the food/drinks. Most of it for her was hit or miss. Some items were exceptional and some were just okay. It was just prompt. It was always prompt, but just not consistent. Babe, I want to chime in on that really quickly. I know for me, I have to say the exact same thing. The food in the Windjammer, when I say was okay, it was just okay. Now, just so that y'all clear, I can't stand buffets in general. Like, you could never catch me in a Golden Corral back in the States. It's the herd mentality and people sort of herding around and hoarding around the thing. I don't dig that much at all. I will say, though, that there were times that I went and it was so crowded, I elected just not to eat at that moment because it was just crazy. And then I also picked places where they were just putting food out, so I know that wasn't picked over. But then we spent a lot of time in the dining room. So we actually scheduled our dinners together. We did breakfast a couple of times in the actual dining room, which was far quieter. The food was better. And that's where I found that when I did taste exceptional stuff, it was in the dining. Now, we did not do any the special dining, just didn't feel like it, I guess. And but that was kind of my take, babe.
Right. And also, just full transparency, the ship that we were on is Serenade of the Sea, which is a smaller ship. So they did not have a lot of the extra places to dine, like the extra pizza places. They didn't have Johnny Rockets for burgers. They didn't have all these other outside places that you could eat outside of. Pretty much all you had was the Windjammer, the main dining room, and then the specialty restaurants. They had like 4 specialty restaurants. And what I did notice on this cruise, nobody was in the specialty restaurants. And that was one of the things that the staff, you know, we talked to a couple staff members and a few other people on the cruise, is that unfortunately a lot of times these cruises that leave out of South Central America people don't pay for those specialty dining. They don't utilize those. And so it's like every day they were pushing us for a special to get us to purchase to go in there. But when we go buy them, it was nobody in them. And I was like, I don't want to be the only, I'm not paying to be the only one in here.
Yeah, that was funny because the last cruise that we took, and just so that you guys know, this is our first time back cruising since the pandemic.
Right.
And we were really excited because we had gotten kind of bit by the pandemic. I mean, not pandemic. We got bit by the cruise bug.
We got bit by that too.
Yeah. All of us did. We got bit by the cruise bug, and we cruised the very first time in 2016. Within 3 years, we had cruised 4 times between 2016 and 2019, the last of which was a Royal Caribbean cruise. So we were kind of excited because the food on Royal Caribbean is known to be really good. The shows are known to be really, really good, but what we didn't take into account, 1 was the smaller ship, 2, the fact that it was an international destination, and 3, the fact that when you talk about going past these specialty places, we've gone to specialty places on Royal Caribbean, phenomenal, worth every dime for me. But I was shocked and amazed to see it was just crickets in there, and I was like, is something wrong?
Yeah, there was nobody in any of the specialty restaurants when we went past them. It was odd to not see lines, people trying to sign up to go in or people eating in them. And so we chose to just do the main dining room instead of doing that. Because you pretty much, you get the same quality food usually in the dining room that you can get. I mean, you'll get a few specialty things in the specialty restaurants, but the food normally in the main dining room is of a really good standard, and you can get your needs met. Now, to go back to the Windjammer, to the buffet, I'm not a buffet person either, but I can say that I think that this particular ship, the food in the buffet, I would say is the worst that I've had. Not variety. They had variety. The food just was not, I don't know if it wasn't seasoned. It was just bland. It was very bland. It was a few items here and there that you would get that were really good, but it was just not good. It was reminiscent of if you have ever stayed at an all-inclusive restaurant, an all-inclusive resort, and they serve the food buffet style. By day 3, you're eating the same thing every day. It all tastes the same. It was kind of like that. And so I was not impressed with the food quality, particularly in the Windjammer. And also, like we mentioned before, after the people got on at Cartagena, it was just so many people in there. It was ridiculous. It was like you had to fight your way through to get from one end to the other. And so we just reverted to going, we did room service. We did, we would go to the dining room. And then, like Glenn said, the last 2 days we were in our room. So we did room service those days. Our friends brought us dinner from the dining room one night. But yeah, it wasn't, I was not impressed. I was really disappointed by the food. But I also realized because it was a smaller ship, you didn't have those other ancillary places that you could go eat. Like the last time we went on the ship, I can't remember what the name of it was the one with the Central Park in the middle. So you had all these other little dining places you could go to, little delis, little pizza places, things that were all included that you could go to or that had a nominal cost. And you didn't have those options here on this ship.
Yeah, if I could jump in real quick, babe. I just wanted to just kind of do a couple things. One, for those of you guys that are just tuning in, again, welcome to Behind Closed Doors with the Brooks Sisters. We're kind of coming out of a cold/flu thing that we had happening. Cherie carried an entire pharmacy on board. And y'all need to understand something about my wife. Next week, we're going to put together, I've already started editing it and putting it together, sort of a walkthrough so that you guys can see the video of what we're talking about today. I didn't want to share screen and go through all of that. Just going to kind of want to talk about it. But you're going to see this woman listen, y'all, I have never seen portable sheets before. Listen to me. Cherie for the win. Listen, when I tell y'all, my wife does not play. So you're going to see in the video spraying down the thing. We did all the things. One thing I do want to say was a low from one of our friends, and again, we went with 6 other couples. What was crazy?
Three other couples.
I'm sorry, 3 other couples, 6 total people. My bad. was one of the lows was inconsistency with the beverages, and that was what we were talking about before in terms of the drinks being good. That was their statement, and no hand washing stations.
Right,
Definitely, that was different because the last time that we had gone, and I don't.
Washy.
Yeah, they had washy,
But they had the sinks.
They had the sinks on the
where
last.
You would go wash your
and this
hand.
was the last Royal Caribbean that we went on.
Yes.
They didn't have any of that, and then this time they had washy, and everybody had hand sanitizer. So I will say this:
they did have hand
they
sanitizer.
had tons of hand sanitizer stations everywhere you went, and maybe that's just a switch that they've done since the pandemic.
Well, no, I think this ship was just smaller. They didn't have the sinks there. And so the last ship we went on was a bigger ship. They had the sinks as you were coming down the hallway into the Windjammer or into the restaurants, and so you were able to actually wash your hands. They did have hand sanitizer available. I want to address big Sis Doula. Yes, I take Lysol, Clorox wipes. I sanitize our room as soon as we walk in the room. All of that, clean our room. Like you said, I had the disposable sheets on the bed. I have all the things. I do all the things. I realized and it was probably day 4 on the cruise, I started noticing other people coughing and sneezing. And that night, I think at dinner, I had choked on some wine. And I noticed after that, and I think it was because I was trying to breathe in. I honestly think I inhaled something.
Wow.
And
wow.
That's how I.
Can we not be so graphic?
Okay, I mean.
Jeez.
Anyway, but I think it was from, we got sick in a common area. It wasn't from in our room. We kept our room very clean. Our room steward was great. We did all the things, the hand sanitizer, washing our hands, wore masks in crowded areas and all of that. We did all the things. And somebody had mentioned earlier, they've heard that cruises are often referred to as petri dishes. Yeah, but my thought was that because you got the outside, you're in the air, you're on the boat, that it shouldn't be as bad, and especially if you don't eat a lot in the buffet, because I know that area in particular is one of the main areas you can catch stuff.
So I want to move along because this is getting really nasty and weird for me. Jesus. Listen, you coughing and hacking now. I'm feeling all creepy crawly. Listen. So look, guys. Let me just keep going through. We had, again, several other couples that went with us. One couple said that the high was the staff. Yes. And I agree. The staff was amazing to me in terms of just our porter was absolutely all the things he did. I mean, just really, really good people, genuinely cared, very attentive. The low for this person was the only refillable drink station that they saw was on deck 11. There were no sinks in the Windjammer. We talked about that. Only hand sanitizer. And then she said that they catered only to Spanish-speaking guests. Now, I will say this. I do feel that as well. Now, I have to admit that because we've been living in a Spanish-speaking country for the last 2.5 years, that wasn't strange to us. Right. But for a person who was coming from the U.S., was not used to having to lean in, accept, embrace, sort of practice their Spanish, it was exciting to me because it was an opportunity for me to practice my Spanish. Yeah. So, but I absolutely could see where that was a deterrent. And when we say that, meaning that, again, when it came to the main events and things like that, often they were in Spanish or you found them trying to translate between the two, and it was just kind of tough.
Now, the shows, they did do the shows in English. The shows were good. We actually got to see, I think, 3 shows. And the shows, the musical shows that they put on at night, and those were actually good. The talent was very good. And so that was a plus for me that I would say definitely was a high, was the entertainment that they did have for the shows at night. The biggest thing was that they had a lot of activities that went on, that started later in the evening and went on late. Like they had, I think, their latest dining time was 9:15. So most times dinner is over by then. And so everything was kind of pushed back later, which I think was to adjust to the clientele on the ship. who typically, eat later and do things later. So a lot of activities were not until later. Like the earliest shows, I think, were at like 7 and 10 o'clock. And so there was nothing really going on prior to like 7 o'clock. But if you stayed up, because the shows we went to, I think, were at the 10 o'clock show because we went after dinner. And so, but the shows were good. I was not disappointed in any of the shows that we did get to go see. And those were in English. The songs they sang in English and everything. Now, I know some of the other activities, like our friends went to karaoke. And they did do one karaoke they did a Spanish karaoke, but then they did another one in another room that was English and Spanish. So they tried to accommodate everybody.
Yeah, and again, for those people who are hopping on, I think that this is just a valuable lesson when you are cruising internationally. And I'm just curious, how many of you guys have ever cruised internationally, and what port did you go out of internationally? Obviously, those of us from the U.S., we're used to the Miamis, the Port Canaverals, up and down the East Coast, whether it's Charleston, New Jersey. We've cruised out of Baltimore before. Norfolk. They used to cruise out of Baltimore, New York, those kinds of things. But if you've cruised internationally and that was your time of embarkation, where was it and how was it? Like, did you find that these were the case, whether they cater to a specific international group? For us, it was not strange to hear so much Spanish, but I absolutely can understand why a person who is maybe like all of our friends flew in from the U.S. and they were absolutely kind of taken aback a little bit. It's like, okay, so and we're going to get into this a little bit, even our tours in terms of the tour guides, once we got off the ship in Aruba, Cartagena, and then Aruba, and then I didn't get off in Curaçao. I was sick. And so it was a whole thing. But let's keep talking a little bit, Cherie. One last comment from one of our other friends. High for them was the fellowship for me. Listen, so let me say this, y'all. They say that when you cruise, it's not about where you're going. It's not as much about the boat, but it's who you cruise with. And let me tell y'all something. Say it again, babe.
It makes all the difference. It makes all the difference. Because had we been on this ship by ourselves, I would have been totally.
It would have been bad.
It would have been bad.
It would have been real bad.
But the company that we had helped make the cruise. We were able to have our own experience there on the ship, and so that made a big difference.
Yeah, considering the fact that one is some lifelong friends that we've known for a very long time, and then the other couple was new friends to us, first time friends for them. And I don't know if you guys have ever been. I don't know if you guys have ever been a part of sort of planning something where you got these friends you know and love, and these friends you love, and you're getting to know, and you're building, but they've never met, and so you're like, I don't know how this is going to go. Now, I will say this. I knew them separately well enough to know that it probably would go really, really well, and it went better than that. So much so that when we got sick the last 2 days, one of our friends, the ones that we've known the longest, were celebrating their 21st wedding anniversary. We felt terrible that we could not be at their at the anniversary dinner. Like, it was horrible. But they had so much of a good time. I was actually envious that we couldn't be there, not because I was missing out, but because they were getting along so well. It was just super dope. So I'm going to say this. If you take this cruise, bring your crew.
Yeah, definitely.
Bring your crew, because if you don't, you might not have a good time.
Yeah, you definitely want to go on this cruise with a group of people, with at least another couple, somebody else that you can hang with, that you guys can create your own experience there, because the cruise itself may not meet your expectations while on the cruise. Now, if we can move on to the actual ports. Now, the ports were amazing. We got off in Cartagena and did a walking tour in Cartagena. Cartagena we did the bus. We did the bus.
Well,
we did the walking tour.
Well, babe, let me just help if I can. We had to take the bus to the walking tour. We went behind the wall city. We got
that's right. It was all the same. It was all the same tour. So it was a bus tour to take through the city, but we got off in Old Town Cartagena and did a walking tour of the old town, which is similar to Casco Viejo here in Panama. If you're familiar with Panama, but this was Old Town, and so we did a walking tour through there, and our tour guide Nancy was amazing. She was the best tour guide I've ever had. Ever. She was.
So she affectionately named us all Nancy's.
We're all Nancy's.
So she spoke.
He's a big Nancy.
I'm a big Nancy. And so what she didn't realize was, and then we had another brother who was with us. He's much taller,
a fellow Marine,
and she was like, "Oh my God, he's such a big Nancy."
And I was like,
it was like
he's not.
So he wasn't feeling being called Nancy. And let me say this, so that only people who've gone through the military like that
would know that
being called Nancy is not a good term of endearment. Let's just leave it there. Yeah. So at any rate,
but she meant it.
Very in a loving way. Yeah. We had a freaking ball. So she took us very good in terms of her English and translation and all of the things. So the walking tour, when you got on it, and again, next week we're going to show videos of all of this, and I'm going to put together, it's probably going to be about 40 minutes long, and I'm going to take my time and let you see as much as we saw so that you guys could get sort of like a bird's eye view of what this looks like. So next week, make sure you set your calendars and tune in, because we're going to put that together for you. But the walking tour was amazing because for us, it felt a lot like, and we've been told this, Cartagena reminds you of Casco Viejo.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely a larger version of if you've ever been to Casco Viejo here in Panama City, Panama, it's a larger, cleaner version of that with aggressive, very aggressive,
very aggressive vendors. Very aggressive.
Not mean, but aggressive.
Like, I'm going to get in your face. I'm going to make a song about you until
I'm going to ask you your name, and then I'm going to freestyle.
So you
all the way down the street.
And it's like, dude, can you back up? No.
It was hilarious.
No, I don't want none.
So listen.
No, gracias.
No, gracias, no.
Gracias, no, gracias, no.
So what was hilarious was, this was funny, Sheree. Let me say this. I one of the things that I loved is that Nancy kind of prepared you for it, and she said something that was super funny. She said, when we get here, the vendors are aggressive, but what I need you to do is, if you don't want what they have, tell them no, thank you, and keep it moving. To ignore them is to invite them to walk along with you until they get a 100-watt no. So I'm just going to give y'all as a pro tip, don't just try and act like they ain't there.
Because they gonna act like, oh, you ain't hear me.
Oh, you ain't.
So I'm gonna make sure you hear me.
You not.
So I'm going. You ain't hear me.
You ain't hearing me.
So I'm gonna keep talking to you because you ain't hear me yet.
Senora, it's muy bueno. Cartagena, Colombia.
No.
It's just for you. 50% off. And look, they got perfect English for what they want. Perfect English for y'all. And it was hilarious.
But it was beautiful being in Cartagena, getting to see our people, getting to see. The architecture there is beautiful. The people are lovely. The vendors are a little aggressive. Like I said, they're not mean. They're not, but they are a little pushy. But other than that, it was beautiful there. We had a great time in Cartagena. So we went through there. We walked through the old town and got to see everything there. Went to the different squares, and then we got back on the bus and then rode through the rest of Cartagena. Got to go to Boca Grande, which is one of the upscale housing areas where the high rises are, and got to see what that neighborhood looked like, and then came back around to the ship port. And so we had a good day. It was a good day. And so we actually got back on the bus and rode all the way around. Some of our friends got off at one of the other stops because they wanted to try to get something to eat. We just rode back around because we wanted to go to the zoo back at the Colón port.
That was something, y'all. We're going to show y'all some pictures.
Port, yeah, they have an actual zoo there that had flamingos.
Y'all, listen. We had parrots, flamingos. It wasn't lions, tigers, and bears, oh my. It was parrots, flamingos, and monkeys. And I got a video of a monkey that was sitting and waiting for somebody.
Don't tell them. Y'all got to watch next week.
Next week, you got to watch it. You got to watch it.
Footage next week.
Just know this. The monkeys are human. I really believe that they are otherworldly. Like, I promise you. Anyway, so let me go to the comments really quickly, Sheree. There's a couple of people who are sounding off in the chat. Our girl, Marilyn, said that She loves cruising as a solo cruiser. However, she meets so many nice people. Not sure about this one. Yeah, absolutely. So if you are, so that's a great point. If you're a solo cruiser and you speak zero Spanish, I would not recommend it.
Yeah, I would recommend this cruise for you.
I wouldn't recommend it because you're not going to run into more English-speaking passengers.
No.
That's what you're not going to run
right.
into. Now, you'll run into staff. You'll run into some English-speaking people, but and don't get me wrong, there'll be some. But I just think that might be something that you might want to pay attention to. Sheree, you got something?
Yeah, I wanted to go to Maryland. She asked about the couples trivia. No, we didn't go to the couples trivia, but our friends did, and actually, one of our couples actually won one of the couples games. I don't remember which one it was. It was the one with the 3 couples. I don't know if it's like the newlywed type game that was in English and in Spanish, and they actually won one of those. So
so if you was there,
you'd know our friends.
You would know our friends. The brother there would he purposely rolled his pants
leg up, showing with his socks pulled
his
up
long
to his
socks
knee.
to pay an homage to
that was our friend,
a traveler that was rocking his high top socks the whole cruise. It was freaking hilarious. So I just want to really quickly, as we move through I think the highlight for me of the entire trip when it comes to getting off and on at ports was Aruba. From this standpoint, we had a chance to eat at a local restaurant in Aruba. Again, we're going to have this all in our video next week. We'll put the descriptions in the video next week when we show it, so that if you take this cruise, you can get off and go and experience that particular restaurant that one of our friends,
famous restaurant.
Say it one more time, back.
It was a TikTok famous restaurant that we were. One of our fellow cruisers, one of our group recommended we go to. And it was a great experience. It just, when I'm trying to be nice.
Can I share?
Yes, you should.
All right, let me share, because I had an attitude at first, and I'm gonna just help y'all understand. I had an attitude. See, so let me set the stage. We're in Aruba. It is our second trip. It is our second destination. By the way, when you first sail out and you go to Cartagena, that's 2 days. At sea, that you'll get to. Let me do it, because you sound like you're about to choke. Just hang tight. It's okay. It's okay. So when we get to Cartagena, that's 2 days to get there. The next day is our destination. Oh, thank you, Z Rovers. That's the name of it. We're going to put the link in the description, because I couldn't think of the name of it off the top of my head. Appreciate that. Not who that is, Nigel. I'm not sure who that was. At any rate, put your government name in there. I'd love to say thank you to you personally. But at any rate, so what I want to do is I want to say this place was fantastic. The thing that made me, I had a little attitude at first, because. And when I say that, we went on the recommendation of one of our friends who did not pull up the same time that we did. They had gone and gotten some massages. We had an amazing massage on the cruise. We're going to talk about that in a second. They had gotten local massages in Aruba. And they were saying, hey, guys, let's meet up at this particular restaurant. Here are the information, and we'll see you guys in a few. So we get there about 30 minutes before they do, and the challenge becomes that there's no instructions on what to do. Now normally, you don't have to have instructions on what to do at a restaurant, because you go in and you just sit down and you wait.
It don't work like that.
It didn't work like that. You walk into this place, again, it's TikTok famous. There is a line going into appreciate that, Barbara. There is a line going out the door, of which nobody in the line know what they're doing. We just in line. So we were probably in line for about 25 minutes. Thinking, well, this is the line to get in, and we'll just patiently waiting for our friends and all the things. That wasn't the case until one of because it was 2 of us couples that were already there, and then the other 2 couples were yet to have arrived. So when we got there, halfway through this 20-minute journey, or this 20-minute journey,
about 20 minutes in, she decided to go get something to drink.
Yeah. So at this particular point, Jessica decides to go up, get something to drink, and she had all the questions. So what are we supposed to be doing, and what is the procedure here? This is our first time. It was hilarious. Me and her husband, Corin, my friend, we were sitting over there like, I'm about to go. Like, it takes nothing for me to call a taxi or an Uber and go back. And I had an attitude because I was hungry. So Jessica comes back. She said, I found out, guys. I found out what's happening, what's going on. She told us the drill. Y'all, I want somebody to put in the chat, catch of the day. Put that in the chat. Put that in the chat. Catch of the day. Put that in the chat. Somebody do me a favor. Humor me. Put catch of the day in the chat. Put that in the chat. That is a term that many of us are familiar with.
Right, but it didn't mean what it meant here.
Cherie.
Is what we think it means
Cherie.
in most restaurants.
Cherie.
So most restaurants, when you go there and they have on the menu the catch of the day, they already know what that catch is because it's whatever they've brought in that morning. This is going to be the fish for the day. No, this place, they actually go out on the boat and get stuff throughout the day, and whatever they bring in, every time they go out, that's what the catch of the day is.
So I want y'all to put caught that day. Put that in the chat. This ain't catch of the day. This is caught that day. Like, bruh, I was like, help me.
And
are you kidding me?
And those are the only selections you have.
That's all you get.
Whatever they caught that day, that's what you eat.
Y'all, when I tell y'all this was crazy, so that was that. Then everything's fried. Cherie.
Everything is fried. The shrimp is fried. So the catch of the day for us was
caught that day.
What was caught that day was tuna and swordfish. Never had fried tuna. Never had fried swordfish.
If you have ever had wait a minute. You're going too fast. If you've ever had fried tuna, fresh caught fried tuna, put me in the chat. I just want to know, am I the only one that had never heard of that?
And they had barracuda earlier that day.
Listen. Barracuda. Now, I was not going to be a fan of pike or barracuda. I know enough about them. I'm not eating. Listen, Barbara, I'm not fooling with you. I already know. See, Barbara Barbara, the fact that you put, that's why I wanted to know your name. The fact that you knew the name of this place.
You knew, she knew what it is.
Talking about I go every June.
We ain't know what it was.
Girl, we ain't know.
We were not prepared.
We were not ready.
We weren't
ready.
Do
you understand
me?
So y'all, I'm saying all this, I'm getting excited. I'm just glad we're having this conversation with our friends. Because Cherie, this was the best fried fish I've ever had in terms of fresh. Now, I grew up in Baltimore. I know fried fish. I know fresh fish, right?
But this was fried with no batter.
That's the difference.
That's like real fried, just like
no
dropped
batter.
It in the grease.
No batter. Seasoned extremely well.
Seasoned very well.
And dropped in some very hot grease for that long.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, fried tuna. And because tuna is an oily fish.
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, and shrimp.
Oh, the shrimp.
The shrimp with the
head still on it.
Whole,
so if you're afraid of that, listen, you get ready. Because them jokers is looking at you like, hey, you had the whiskers everywhere. So go ahead, babe.
And so when you get to, I don't want to get too much of this away, but I'm going to just tell y'all. But y'all still want to tune in next week to watch the video so you can actually see it, because this is not going to do it justice. So when you finally get to the front of the line, what you do is they basically say, how much do you want? How many people do you have with you? This is what we recommend you get. This is how much we recommend you get. You get to choose. You get shrimp. You can either get tuna steak and swordfish, or you can get one or the other. And then it came with plantains, fries, salad, the plantain fries, the corn muffin, some type of cornbread muffin thing. It wasn't something cornbread.
It was like a corn cake.
Yeah,
it's almost like a corn cake.
A Reuben corn cake. Yeah. And so you get all of that. That all comes with it, with your fish and whatever. And so basically they say, so it's two of you, you need 2 handfuls. She's like, 2 handfuls. I'm looking at your hand like, okay, so that's not that much shrimp. Her handful, by the time we got the shrimp, this was 1 handful of shrimp.
What they didn't tell you was, listen.
It wasn't her handful that was measuring.
Barbara, Miss Scott, Barbara, listen to me. That shrimp was a problem. The only reason what gave me trouble about that shrimp was that my hands was feeling all shriveled up and briny because of the salt, trying to pull, because you had to pull it. I've never eaten shrimp and you had to pull the head off, but the peeling each shrimp. And then what I found out was if you go on Sundays, they will actually peel it for you. You can. That's what our driver told us going back. They'll peel it for you if you go on Sundays. But at anywho,
we wasn't there on a Sunday.
We wasn't there on a Sunday, and it was a situation. So again, Z Rovers is the name of the place.
Yes, but
we're going to show
watch
you the video next week. It was a whole amazing thing. Cherie and I, we had such a good time. One of the things that I want to encourage you to do is to sign up if you're going to do an excursion before you set sail. Is that right, babe?
Yes, you want to book your excursions in advance. Do not book them once you get on the ship, and then be mindful. Now, we were in Curaçao from like 8:30 a.m. to like 10:30 p.m. that night. Was it? No, Aruba from 10:30. We were there until 10:30 that night. All our other days we were leaving at like 3:30. Now you always hear about, the people running for the ship. I'm gonna tell you, that's a real thing, because a lot of the excursions are so far from the port. There's so many things that can happen that could cause you to not get back to the port. So if you're going to book an excursion, book it through the cruise line, or definitely do it early enough to make sure that you're back. Give yourself at least 2 hours to be back before the ship is supposed to leave, to make sure that you get back in time. So when we were in Curaçao, we actually got off the ship and did some wandering around. Glenn actually wasn't feeling good that day, so he stayed in the room. So we wandered around and, kind of ventured out. And when we got back on the ship, we were noticing people. When we got back on, there was no line to get back on the ship. So as it was getting closer to the time for the ship to leave, there's like this long line of people waiting to get on the ship. The thing that saved them, honestly, was that because there was a line, people were still coming up even after the line had finally closed down, and we were past the time that we were supposed to have left. But because they were just starting to close down. But we would have, had everybody gotten on sooner, some people would have definitely gotten left because they didn't get back on time. Because one thing, that was in Aruba when we went to the beach. Mm-hmm. We went to the beach in Aruba, and that was when we noticed that how far it was. And if you got caught out, because there was a bridge you had to come across that actually opened and closed. And if you went on the other side of the bridge coming back, you could have gotten stuck on that side of that bridge and couldn't get back in time to get on the ship. And so it's a lot of things to consider when you do. Just be mindful when you do excursions on any cruise. Try to schedule it, like I said earlier, the better, so you get back in time. And if possible, especially if you're going to book it through the cruise line, book it in advance. Book it before you get on the cruise line, because the prices are definitely cheaper. Although once you're in the boat, they're talking about all these special prices, but those prices are still higher than if you had booked it in advance. So we had booked our excursion before we booked the cruise. For Cartagena, we had booked that online, and then in Aruba and Curaçao, we just got cabs and just rode around. We didn't do actual excursions in those two locations.
So, babe, real quick, and I'm telling you in advance, I'm going to talk to give you some time. If you can just chime in on the chat and let people know about how they can get in touch with you if they want to do a taste and see consult. One of the things that I want to do is encourage you two things. One, Cherie's going to pop in some information for you. If you want to jump on a call with Cherie, you're coming this way and you just kind of want to really get a curated experience of what you should do based on your travel time and all the things, your budget and all that sort of stuff, and you come into Panama City, Cherie can absolutely schedule that for you and get you on a call so that we can connect you with our folks and you can really get, have the best time while you're here. I think one of the biggest things that I have experienced since living abroad, and a friend of mine who runs a travel company, particularly with tours to Africa, always says, he never goes anywhere where there are no boots on the ground that can show you around. And so I want you to think of jumping on a call with Cherie as a boots on the ground experience. The thing that I realized when we went to these different cities is how things change from one time to another. Mm-hmm. So Barbara, you probably can attest to this. If you go to Aruba every June, I promise you can speak to the fact that there may be something different that's there from one trip or 1 year to the next. So that's why that's important. The second thing that I want to encourage you guys to do, if you're going to be in Panama City this coming Saturday, we would love for you guys to come through. Monday is Mother's Day here in Panama City, so we certainly want to encourage you to come and celebrate Mother's Day with us on Saturday at Mika's Cafe. We will be doing our monthly breakfast, not breakfast, but first Saturdays, it's a gospel brunch. We do it every first Saturday, a monthly meetup, expats, locals, travelers. We get together. It's where you can meet us. We can meet you. You can share information. If you have specific questions, I could probably direct. Oh, you want to talk to Aisha. She's in the chat right now. Hey, Aisha, good to see you, girl. Listen, go talk to Aisha because she is an expert on when it comes to navigating Panama, particularly with a physical disability in mind. She knows it all, right? Well, you get a chance to meet people like that. I'm not putting you on the spot, Aisha. I don't know if Aisha's going to be there Saturday or not. She's probably like, oh my God, are you saying? No, I'm not messing with you. She's actually going to go on this cruise. Aisha, if you did not catch the beginning, you may want to go back and check out the replay. All of you guys who did not chime in the beginning, come check out the replay for sure. If you're interested in taking this cruise from Panama City, or Colón actually, down to Cartagena, and then over to Aruba, and then over to Curaçao and back. I'm going to give my overall take after I read some other people that went with us. If they had to rank it 1 to 10, was it worth it? And what was their experience? One couple said their overall ranking, or one person said it would be a 7. Another person for us said that they chimed in and said it would be a 7 as well for them. Another one of our friends actually said overall ranking would be a 6. And then another person said, it was actually her husband, he said it's 6 as well. These are people who cruise all the time out of international destinations, and it just didn't do it for them because of all the things that we had mentioned earlier. I would say it was a 7. I don't think I would say it's as low as a 6, but I would definitely say it was a 7. And had I not gone with the 10 plus people, or the ranking 10, a 10 out of 10, our crew was a 10 out of 10. Had I not gone with them, it would have been a 4. Easy for me. And I'm just saying that. And the 4 would have been because of the ports.
Gotcha. Well, I would give it a 6 because of the food. Because of the interporting, that might have actually dropped it to a 5. I did not like, because I research, I do my due diligence, and there was nothing in anything that I saw that indicated that there were going to be people getting on the ship. For me, that was a definite negative for me to be thrust in the middle of that without knowing it in advance. Had I known it in advance, I would, it wouldn't have been, I probably wouldn't have picked that cruise. But if I had chosen it, knowing that would have been something different. But I don't like surprises like that. And to me, that's something big that they should advertise, that you should know when you get on a ship that, people are going to be getting off, people are going to be getting on. And so for me, that definitely dropped it down to, I was probably a 5.5. The food, the lack of options for the food, the language wasn't as much as a big deal. The lack of activities during the day was a downside for me. The ports were amazing. I enjoyed the ports. But yeah, I would probably give it a 5.5 or 6.
Yeah, and again, when I say a 4 without the crew, let me just kind of it's the lack of activities throughout the day. I almost, and not expecting that this would be a cruise that there was nothing really to do. Mm-hmm. So that's the part that, cause I even thought about, we did the golf simulator, but what I realized was that was not, it wasn't what and I've done golf simulators. Yeah. This was,
they threw that together.
It was kind of,
yeah, they threw that together.
It wasn't a golf simulator.
It wasn't a golf simulator.
They put something together. Technically, they could call it that, but it wasn't.
It wasn't outside.
Nah, and you had to pay for it.
Yeah.
So it was things like that. Like, I'm used to shows throughout the day, comedy shows,
game shows,
throughout the day. Most of their stuff was at night.
I don't even know. Did they even do bingo? I don't remember.
I think they did a bingo during the day.
I don't know, but it wasn't enough stuff going on during the day to keep you engaged at all.
Yeah, and that's why I think that this.
They did the art show and something like.
Who wants to?
Nobody's doing.
Well, I'm sorry. There are people.
There are people that do that, but I'm not doing that.
But the other thing for me, I think that the thing that, again, let me help you with the expectation. If your expectations to go and to completely unplug and veg out and do absolutely nothing,
this is the cruise for you.
Definitely go.
Yeah.
Definitely go. You can sleep all day. You can hang out and just catch the sun and do all.
But The other thing with that, when we talk about inconsistency, even the drinks were inconsistent at the bars.
Yeah, that's what, and all of our friends said that.
Right.
All of our
not
friends said
just
that.
the
from bar to
not
bar,
just the
from
fountain,
place.
not just the fountain drinks, things like that.
Just
even
period.
at the bars, it was inconsistent.
Yeah,
It
you
just
might
was
have
not-
something at this one, but you don't have it at that one.
or
and
just even you get something like I think I got a martini, or not a martini, whatever the drink was. I got it from one bar. I went to another bar and got it, and it was something different. Our friend Tasha was getting the non-alcoholic drinks, and she ordered the same drink, and every time it came, it was a different drink. But she was ordering the same.
Yeah.
thing.
So
It's
it was a lot of inconsistencies.
A lot of weird stuff. Yeah.
So would I go back on this one again? Probably not. Probably not. Not this one. Now here's what I will do. We flying to Cartagena.
Yes, I definitely want to go back and visit Cartagena.
We are going. That's a 45-minute flight from Panama City.
Yeah, definitely.
We definitely going
there.
back there. I would go back to Aruba again, just like a jazz fest or something.
Yeah,
that's
if there's
an
something
event,
going on there.
I would definitely go back to Aruba.
Aruba's not big.
Aruba is about that big. I promise you.
If there's something going on there, yeah, I'd go back there. Definitely want to go back to Cartagena, and I do plan on cruising again. Not sure if we will be cruising out of Colón again. I have to look at the other cruises, other cruise lines, and see what their cruises look like. I did like the convenience of being able to leave from
Couldn't
here
beat
without
that.
having to fly
Yeah,
anywhere.
That was great.
But may have to bite the bullet on that and just fly back to the U.S. Or somewhere else and catch a flight if it's flying to Barcelona and catch a cruise there or something. Have to do something like that. But definitely do still plan on cruising. This has not turned me off of cruising at all.
At all. No, not at all.
But just that particular cruise was not my favorite.
That's all. So, guys, we have gone much longer than we normally do. I hope this is helpful. Marilyn, no, you didn't come through with the DVD player. She brings her portable. I'm mad at you.
Not the portable DVD.
Listen, I don't know nobody that still got one. Like, let me use it. Like, for real. No, that's hilarious. What I will say is that we wind up getting, because we needed to upload something to our last YouTube offering that we did. Well, no, we had previously loaded last week's episode when we went to the Bio Museo. But what we wanted to do was we wanted to communicate with our team for Breakfast in the Word. And although we were not present on Breakfast in the Word on Saturday because we were cruising, we did get an internet package that was much better than any internet package I've ever gotten on a ship. And I had been turned off to say I'll never do that again because they just have been so inconsistently, and when they were consistent, they were poor. This was the best internet service. So to the point of downtime, the internet service worked really well if you did want to get online, if you do want to watch movies. Also the service inside your room, like if you wanted to be able to watch movies and things like that, and they had the TVs playing the different places, they had the movies and stuff. So there are things to do, and I think that this boils down to what do you call fun and what are you interested in, and I just want you to adjust your expectations. I believe that's it, babe, for the day. I don't know if we got anything else.
Nope. This was great. Appreciate you guys. Sorry we still sound a little raspy because I'm going to go get me a nap in. So I can be ready. I got a call later this afternoon. But appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you check out next week's video.
Absolutely.
That's going to give you all the details, all the behind the scenes. You're going to get to see all of the videos, all the footage of our trip on this cruise. Like I said, it wasn't. It's not one that I would necessarily do again, but I think that we are able to provide you guys a lot of information for you to make that choice for yourself. If you do go, I do recommend you go with someone else. Don't go by yourself. This is not one of those cruises you want to do by yourself. But
unless you want to sleep or read several books,
right?
I'm telling you,
Right.
and or you want to practice your Spanish,
Right.
then please go.
Yes.
You will have plenty of opportunity to do that and meet as many people as you will. At the end of the day, here's what I know to be true. Can't get to any place of significance by yourself because we all need some help. And next week, I want y'all to tune back in once again for Behind Closed Doors
With the
Brooks sisters. Y'all be good.